What's up, A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday as the Titans shatter expectations that I think we all had for them on day one of the NFL free agency legal negotiating tampering window. They hand out 10 contracts, one extension from their own player, and then 9 new players on yesterday's day one, and nearly $300 million of total money, 292.5 in new players alone. They get Cam Ward a weapon or two. The defense completely transformed, and we're here to react to all of it and give our grades from Wan'Dale Robinson all the way through the defensive ads and the Chig replacement at tight end with Daniel Bellinger, and the obvious theme of this free agency class that is catching some negativity for some low-hanging fruit out there by some national easy-taking joke makers that think they're funny. But we'll discuss all of these things here live on this show on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch with a 3-headed monster show with myself, JT, and Easton. Very busy Monday. I don't know about you guys, but my brain was scrambled eggs by about dinner time. And I'm refreshed. I'm ready to rock. I'm caffeinated and ready to hit the ground running again for day 2 of the illegal negotiating tampering window for NFL free agency. JT, what's going on?
What's going on? I don't know about Easton. I don't know about you, but yesterday was one of the craziest days I've ever experienced in.
I know. We won in softball. Can you believe it?
Okay, yeah, that's definitely the highlight. No,
huge day yesterday.
It was a massive day, like you said. So much going on, so many things moving around. I went back yesterday and looked at how many notifications I got on my phone yesterday, just because I was curious. Every time it buzzed, every time it pinged. Do you guys want to guess how many notifications I had on my phone yesterday? From
372.
Is it 292.5 is the over-under?
I'm taking the over strongly.
Okay, well, that's free money because you're way off. You are very way off.
Did you get 1,000 notifications yesterday?
I got 1,200 notifications yesterday.
Now I have to check mine. That's incredible.
Wow.
1,200 notifications on my phone yesterday. Actually, sorry. By the end of the day, 1,300 notifications.
That can't be healthy for
Jack
you.
wins the showcase right there.
So that was it, that just to go. And that was not even, that's half from messages from us communicating, from the entire A to Z entire team communicating back and forth all day, the entirety of Twitter going crazy, having every insider ready to break news on my phone at a moment's notice to get ready. That's how big yesterday was for me. I can't see it. Just
2,300.
Yeah. Wow, that is crazy. But that just goes to describe what kind of day it was yesterday. And the
turn
Titans
notifications off on some of my apps.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Yeah,
really.
You're giving me anxiety here. All right, but we have a lot to get into.
It was a great day yesterday. I'm excited to get into everything that the Titans did because they were busy. Took them a second to get going, and fans and everyone alike was pretty concerned. They were like, when are they going to start doing things? And then when they did, it was a landslide of signings. And we'll get into all of those. But first and foremost, hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on every single morning when we go live, exactly when we go live. If you're on Facebook as well, we appreciate you guys watching over there. Hit that like button, like the page. Share the show with a friend, and let's get this going.
Yep, let's do it officially. Welcome to the A to Z Sports here live on a Tuesday, powered by our new friends at AutoProNashville.com, right above JT's noggin right there. We go live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Links to the show segment by segment on our Twitter X timeline. You can find us there at A to Z Sports. You can also follow us on Google. I'm posting the link right here for the preferred source for the Google coverage. So when you search Titans free agency grades, you see Easton's article of the first 8 players signed by the team yesterday.
Don't go read that
for his grades because we're talking through that
Don't
today.
Spoil it.
We're
Stay
doing
here.
grades today, but you're going to have more content. We've got YouTube videos out there that show up in Google feeds now. So make sure you follow us on Google as well. And we got to make sure we thank our sponsors. Actually, first, Instagram Reels and TikTok Reels everything is content galore all over the place. So we're going full head of steam content. I believe we had 12, maybe 13 posts on Instagram yesterday, including reels. So yeah, all the way from breaking the news of the Titans white helmet, white face mask through the signing of Josh Williams, the last signing of the day. And we did not make a post for Morgan Cox, no disrespect there. But I do have to thank our sponsors here for making the show happen as they help us out and they help out you, our new friends, Auto Pro Nashville, title sponsor of the morning show, providing an assortment of multiple types of high-line luxury vehicles at competitive prices with 2 locations in Brentwood and Murfreesboro, autopronashville.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care, boneandjointtn.org, and Window Nation, 50% off all window styles throughout the month of March. WindowNation.com is the website. WindowNation.com, free estimate for you as well. So the day did get started off slow. God forbid the Titans don't make a signing or a move made at 11:01 a.m.
All
Central
of these
time.
grown adults on the internet turn into the children in the backseat of the family van. Like, where are we there yet? No, we just left the driveway, sweetheart.
It is funny. And I did see, look, yesterday was crazy. There was a ton of money handed out across the league. It started with, let's just kind of go a little walk the memory lane of just less than 24 hours ago. Alec Pierce, did Alec Pierce technically hit free agency?
Oh, do we want to talk about this?
Yeah, I think we do, because Alec Pierce returns briefly. We're not going to take up too much time. But Easton was correct. Alec Pierce stays in Indianapolis Colts.
Stop doubting me.
Well, look.
Never a doubt.
I do think the way you approached that was you never made your mind believe that there was any other opportunity or option.
And it's true, because the Colts tried so hard to screw it up. They did the one thing that they could do to even crack the door, and he still was a Colt within the first 12 seconds of free agency. Which,
but
what that actually means,
make it free agency, though.
What that means is that a deal had been done for some hours or days, and they waited to. I don't know if y'all saw how it got announced. He was on call waiting the second the Pat McAfee show began on ESPN. It was for show. It was like as a bit to get Pat McAfee going early.
No, so here's what this
he signed many hours beforehand.
Well, there was absolutely a PR move from the Colts, because Alec Pierce becomes the highest paid free agent wide receiver. It's the largest free agent wide receiver contract in the history of the NFL. Mm-hmm. He's getting paid $28.5 million a year on average. That is not even anywhere near the highest paid wide receiver. But all the other ones are contract extensions, not free agents. So the Colts did this for show. Absolutely. Now, the Commanders did have a play. The Patriots making a push. The Titans not involved. So, Easton, you are correct. You deserve a golf clap. So in the chat, if you want to boo Easton or golf clap Easton, that's fine. But the captain of naivete and smugness over here.
I don't need a cookie or a sticker. I just need you all to realize the next time we try to make a collective bit out of saying that Easton's wrong, you're going to look stupid again.
I will be doing it the next opportunity I get. There's no way.
That's fine.
There's no way this continues.
If you want to be Easton's wrong guy and I want to be always right guy, I can live with that. That's right.
If it's good for the brand and if it's good for business, then sign me up. I'm all good. So. All right. So now, moving on, as Daniel Kirby said, good job, Easton. Move on. Yes. So Captain Smug, we sit here and we wait for the next 90 minutes, maybe closer to 2 hours, and boom, the Titans ring the bell. They have a contract. Backup quarterback Mitch Trubisky. How
Bang!
Right? Hey. And then the next
once again, disrespecting Morgan Cox again. We're just gonna move.
Morgan Cox was extended in a
deal
like
10:55 or something.
Yeah, right before. Which, hey, good job, Morgan Cox. Smart move. Easy A+. We can start our grades there with an easy A++ of re-signing the great long snapper that is Morgan Cox. Very smart move by the Titans and a no-brainer. So we start off 1-0 in our mock-off seasons. That just automatically re-sign button for Morgan Cox.
I will never forget that guy in January on that show with JT and I. That was like, it was very important to him that the Titans find a replacement for Morgan Cox. Yes. I don't understand why.
Yes. So, and Jay just looking. I love this. Don't just sit there. Like the live. I love that. Like
Agreed,
the live.
Jay.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it.
What y'all doing just sitting there? Hit the like button.
So Mitch Trubisky is signed, and then Daniel Bellinger is signed for a tight end contract. And then that's when everybody's like, all right, okay, this is kind of like lackluster. You guys are going to sign your second tight end and your backup quarterback, and everybody else is, throwing bukus of money across the league.
No, I like it. You ease into the pool. You don't have to dive in head first.
And so, and Easton and I, we had a segment on our YouTube channel. You can go watch of us reacting to both the Mitch Trubisky and the Daniel Bellinger contracts. It's about 11 minutes long, and you can go check that out. But at the very end of that, when we were recording it, boom, Wan'Dale Robinson is signed. And we're like, all right, well, there we go. And then we're recording the Wan'Dale Robinson video that you can also watch on our YouTube channel. And then bang, just like 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, boom. The money starts to unleash. And the Titans free agency haul, by far and away, the most expensive, the biggest, the deepest free agency haul in the NFL on day one, with Wan'Dale Robinson leading the way in total dollars. 4 years, $70 million. John Franklin Myers, defensive lineman, 3 years, 63. Alontae Taylor, my guy. I will always say that, my guy. Cornerback Alontae Taylor, 3 years, 58. Cor'Dale FLott, cornerback from the Giants, 3 years, 45. Daniel Bellinger, tight end from the Giants, 3 years, 24. Mitch Trubisky, 2 years, 10.5. Josh Williams, corner from the Chiefs, 2 years, 5. Austin Schlottman, 2 years, 9.5 as a center from the Giants. And then Cordell Volson, a 1 year, $2.5 million deal recently with the Bengals there. So those 9 free agent acquisitions, guys, add up to $292.5 million. They outdid Ran in less time.
We're going to applaud that, or?
I'm just stating it.
It's a fact.
Mr. Daniel Owen says the Raiders wasn't more. No.
I believe they were 283.
The Raiders gave infinity dollars to Tyler Linderbaum and still did not surpass them.
And here's the thing. The Raiders, I thought about this last night. The Raiders, because they trade away Max Crosby and they're not having to pay his contract over the next couple of years, have to spend more cash. So like the cash versus cap situation here is very fascinating because the Raiders had to go find players to pay right now. And God, how nice it is to be Tyler Linderbaum. Like, man, just to walk in a situation after the Raiders trade away Max Crosby to where they had to spend in like this year, like $150 million of cash. And Tyler was like, hey, I'll take that. Sounds great.
The previous highly paid center in the history of the NFL was $18 million AAV. He raised the bar by 150%.
Now, he did raise it by, if you look at percentage of salary cap, it was about 1.5, 1.6% of the salary cap jump, which is a massive jump.
Yes.
Right? It's a massive jump. So, and Tom Thumb says the Titans have no players you had to spend. They have the cap space to spend. They had to spend it. They had to go get starters. They had to go get better players. They had to surround Cam Ward with pieces on offense, and they had to get this defense to go from a 3-4 to a 4-3 to fit Robert Saleh and Gus Bradley's defensive scheme. So JT, Easton, and I have done 3 different videos on YouTube and countless reels that we put together on our Instagram and TikTok and all those other platforms, YouTube Shorts. So we've talked through a lot of these. JT, your big picture viewpoint of this Titans free agency haul of 9 players plus Morgan Cox that total almost $300 million in total money.
Yeah, well, first of all, you make the connections to they outdid Ran. I will say the one thing about that is that instead of paying hurt and old players, they paid non-hurt, like healthy and young players. So that is one difference there for sure. That is the difference between Ran and what this regime is doing. It was a lot of moves that made a lot of sense for what they needed right now. I mean, there wasn't any real move that I thought was surprising in terms of like, wow, they went out and did this. Like they needed, we talked about this in our 2 mock off seasons that we all 3 did together. They needed 2 or 3 cornerbacks out of free agency to go into the the draft, feeling good about where you take one there and then building up that quarterback room, they go out and they get 3 guys. You needed a backup quarterback because of the pretty much assumed exit of Will Levis later this offseason.
Now guaranteed. It was previously assumed, now guaranteed. Just a matter of when.
And they go get a guy who is connected to Brian Dable and I think is one of the better backups in the league. I know he hasn't played a lot, but that is one of the better guys that I would turn to if your starting quarterback goes down.
Yeah.
They got Wan'Dale Robinson, which was a telegraphed move. They got John Franklin Myers, which was a telegraphed move. All of these moves, they go in, like the one that you could say maybe is a surprise from yesterday is the Daniel Bellinger move because of the reported interest in bringing Chigakonkwo back. You could say maybe that was a surprise move to them. But outside of that, it was all pretty much standard. I mean, that's kind of the thought that we had throughout the entirety of our mock off seasons, right? We kept saying that they needed all these holes and we kept spending a lot of money. We're saying, are they really going to do the Rand thing? The Rand thing was more so spending just to spend. This felt more like they were spending to actually fill needs on the team. And it was kind of a more justified way of spending this money.
All right. So you mentioned the familiarity and seven of the nine players added had ties to the head coach, the offensive coordinator, or the general manager.
Welcome to the buddy club.
And then this is not the best connection, but there's still something. There's still crossover because there's 2 players that did not have a previously working relationship with the head coach, the GM, or the offensive coordinator. But Alontae Taylor and Dave Ziegler, the assistant GM, did spend a year together in New Orleans. So, I mean, it's not like, Dave Ziegler was like a personnel
clearly they're best friends.
Dave Ziegler was a personnel assistant. Alontae Taylor was like a third-year cornerback. Now he was a starter in that situation, but there was something there. There was familiarity there. And Alontae
Taylor came from Alontae Taylor wrecking the Titans in week 15 or whatever in their home stadium.
Jordan Schultz said in his tweet that broke the Alontae Taylor to the Titans move that Alontae Taylor was the number 1 corner on the Titans board in free agency.
Did he say number 1 corner or their top target? I think he just said top target. I read it like he was the guy they wanted the most.
I'll have to. There's no way in hell I'm going to find that Jordan Schultz tweet. And
let's go with my narrative. It's cooler.
That's either way, very highly prioritized for Alontae Taylor, and the second highest AAV. The Titans signed yesterday behind John Franklin Myers. Which is crazy, but I think Alontae Taylor, and you can go watch the full video of us talking about the defensive trio on our YouTube channel that came out this morning, a couple hours ago, that we go deeper into all of that. So the combination, here's what I want to get to.
Okay.
Before we grade these, because we're going to grade the big ones. We're going to grade 5 of these contracts, and then we're going to talk about the other contracts, and then look forward. And we have a question about the Titans moving forward, if they have another hole to fill or not still. But if you see anybody out there mocking Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll for signing players that quote unquote got them fired previously, haha, it is a funny joke, right? But it's the lowest hanging fruit.
It is funny. It
is funny, but it's also
what if we
not
hired the guys
accurate.
that got me fired?
It's also funny. Not accurate though.
No, it is accurate. It lacks
Did John
context.
Franklin Myers get Robert Saleh fired? No, he did not.
No, hang on. But the meme is about not Saleh, really. The meme is about Dable.
Oh, so Mike Vrabel signing all those former Titans that got him fired took him to the Super Bowl, right?
You could have made the meme there too.
Yeah, but guess what? It didn't matter. So
it still was funny.
It's again, I told you it was funny, but it's just not accurate. It's a joke. But
and also those players Vrabel signed, he actually found some success with them. Like the Giants were never good with the players that they signed.
Yeah, but the Giants were not good because Cor'Dale FLott sucks, right?
I know.
The Giants are not good because Daniel Bellinger is a bad tight end too.
I think would be wise to be good sports about this because it's funny. It's funny.
It is a theme, but I do think it is a let's dump on the Titans and we will get Instagram impressions and Twitter impressions and retweets because that's what national guys that live in Ireland that talk about the NFL love to do all the time is mock the Titans and mock the small market teams for clicks. and for impressions.
This
Yes.
seems targeted.
Yeah, it's very targeted because that guy does that all the time. He's been doing it for a decade of
Who
just.
are you talking about?
I'm not even sure who we're talking about. The guy that lives in Ireland?
Yes, there's an Irish NFL guy who loves to dump on the Titans.
Well, I know an Irish NFL guy. He doesn't live in Ireland.
Okay, well he used to.
Lives in Cincinnati.
Okay, well he moved because he was in Ireland when he came on Zach and I's radio show a decade ago because of the time change. But anyway,
All right, old head.
Yeah, you call it unk status. Yeah, okay. But again, it is a simple, easy, low-hanging fruit joke to make that actually doesn't have any merit to it. Because Cor'Dale FLott's a good player who's not even 25 yet. As to JT's point, young players, right?
These guys yesterday was what? JFM is how old? Is he 20?
He'll be 30 in September.
Okay, yeah, 29.
I'm like, if we want to, all jokes aside, the idea that they got them fired, I agree is very silly because you look at what the players are doing for them right now, and like you look at that and you say, which by the way, I just realized, do I sound better now?
Yes, you do. Yes, God, thank you.
Why did nobody block me? Why didn't you say something?
Because I was talking too much to tell you. Sorry.
All right. Like, anyways, I hope that's better now. I just noticed
way
that my
better.
Entire thing was not on. So you bring up a great point, especially with Cor'Dale FLott, because let's not pretend like Cor'Dale FLott wanted to come here the entire time. I don't know if you saw this from Connor Hughes yesterday, but the Giants, who are now head coached by John Harbaugh and Denard Wilson, pretty much assumed that Cor'Dale FLott was coming back. And it took Robert Saleh to be the closer yesterday, so to speak.
They didn't assume it. They had a contract.
It was all but signed.
It was all but done.
They had a contract.
The Titans once again come in at the last second, which they seemingly do, regardless of regime at the.
That's just storytelling, bro. That's just storytelling. Come on.
Either way,
Robert Saleh swung in on a vine.
It's not. Let's not assume that this was like a thing that they did, like the connection, like just come play for us. Like they had to make a huge stride to go get him.
Ian O'Connor, who has covered the Giants for decades, said the Giants want 3 guys back: Wan'Dale Robinson, Cor'Dale FLott, and Illuminor, the offensive lineman. They got 1
for 3, baby,
and the Titans got the other 2. And
that's one of them, right? And then John Franklin Myers, he was a top 8 defensive tackle, like defensive lineman last year. I don't care that he played for Saleh. If you're a top 8 defensive lineman, get him on your team. Like
no one is memeing the JFM one, guys. It's just all the Giants you signed.
It's just thing. Brian Dable. It's just the fact thing. It's just the fact that the offensive coordinator looks to have the most power in the building, which he doesn't. But the Giants, Easton, we talked about this when you brought up, and we'll talk about Wan'Dale in a second. You said on our YouTube segment, good receivers don't hit free agency.
It's true. It's
more likely for good players to hit free agency when the organization that they're currently on has a fired coaching staff.
Definitely
and
true.
Scheme switch and a change and all of that. And we're seeing that. We're seeing players follow their old coaches all across the league this year. So we've talked a lot about this. Let's go ahead. You want to add one more thing before we dive in?
Well, first of all, you're missing an entire anecdote that you need to share.
Oh my gosh. There's so many things. It's easy to miss. What did I miss?
Well, you missed the recap of your conversation with Robert at the
that's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Because another one of the memes yesterday was there's a tweet, I think also from Connor Hughes from 2024, where he was like, if you combined the Jets and the Giants roster, would they be a good team? And people were bringing that back up yesterday as being like, this is what the Titans are doing right now, which also kind of funny and true. But he told you something along those lines in person.
I literally was, when I got introduced to Robert Saleh, and we talked for, 5-8 minutes, something like that, just one-on-one. And I talked about, Brian Dable was getting a lot of, positive buzz from the fan base. And he's like, we always talk when we were in New York. He's like, man, I got the defense thing figured out. He's got the offense thing figured out. If only we could just merge, we'd be pretty good. I'm summarizing, but pretty damn close to word for word from like a month and a half ago. And, here you go.
And that's funny. I have 3 very brief things to add. Number 1, do you all, let me throw this criticism that I have heard at you and see what you all think. Does it feel like it's fair to say Mike Borgonzi let the coaching staff do the shopping yesterday?
I mean, yeah.
Or
is it?
And follow-up question, is that what you want to be the way that it works? Or
so this is just how I think things should work.
Mm-hmm.
The manager or the big boss, they hire the employees, right? And they hire their employees based on if they think those employees are capable to do that job at a high level. And then that manager's job is to make sure that they set that person up, that employee up, to be as successful as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so they give them the resources for them to be as successful as possible. So, in turn, Mike Borgonzi is the shopper for the chefs of Robert Saleh and Brian Dable. And so he is giving those chefs the ingredients they want so they can be as successful as possible. So that is the right way to manage, whether that's a football team, a media company, a grocery store, a restaurant, whatever the hell. That's how that should work.
And yeah, I'm not being critical of this. I'm playing anthropologist here. I find it interesting what they have done, because I have been around this world long enough to know what this turns into if things go south, which is they have dried out a forest worth of kindling on the whole buddy hire, buddy this, buddy that topic, for that to be the obvious direction they go in. Fans, angry fans, the mob, when and if things go south. Like, that's what it'll be.
Yeah. So, and this is,
and I'm not gonna pretend that any of these players, like when I think of a Borgonzi player, none of them don't necessarily not fit what they're looking for in the past. Like I think a lot of the players that they brought in, I think it's a win-win for both. It just, like you said, I think it happens to be a circumstance here because like they're good players. They fit what they want to do and they fit what the Borgonzi style is, but they also just happen to be the players that they're most familiar with.
So I agree with the Borgonzi player overlap making sense. I actually disagree with it being a thing that's circumstantial. My grand theory on this is that I think front office folks and coaches alike are increasingly, across the league, leaning into hiring and signing the people they are actually personally familiar with, because we are every day more and more a microwave society, and the leashes on these guys' jobs are shorter and shorter. And so I think the reasonable, like, human instinct mindset, the like animal trapped in a cage mindset is, well, if I'm going to go down, I want to fill my ship full of people that I know me, and I know how that I don't want to go down with a bunch of randos that I just met. I also want to bring in people that are going to be around me who I know rock with me, so that they don't jump ship immediately when things go south, right? Like a guy you have history with is going to give you more of a runway of belief in you than some random guy that you're asking to follow you.
100% agree. All right, let's move forward. I texted you guys a topic for maybe tomorrow or for a YouTube video that we can do individually that you can read that and then say, interesting. But not right now, because we're already 28 minutes into this and we have done nothing yet, really. So my God. All right.
I mean, we've not done nothing.
We have done a lot of things, but we have not done any of the 5 grading things that we're going to do. So a half hour into the show, it is now time for us to grade Wan'Dale Robinson's contract. We will grade Wan'Dale Robinson's contract. What are you seeing? Well, I guess, JT, I'll let you throw this in the chat. How do you grade Wan'Dale Robinson's contract for the Titans? It is a 4-year deal for $70 million. We'll show some more details on the contract here in a moment. But first, I want to tell you guys about our great new title sponsor of the show. It is Auto Pro Nashville. AutoProNashville.com. Super excited about our new relationship with Hans and his team at Auto Pro Nashville. They have 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro, providing you an assortment of multiple types of high-line luxury vehicles at competitive prices at those 2 locations. Auto Pro Nashville specializes in gently used high-end inventory with a reputation of providing an excellent customer service, multiple financing options, and reliable vehicles to every single customer. They have truly invested in the community, and not just the community of Nashville area, but also the sports community, because Hans very involved in every level of sports, literally youth sports, high school, NIL, university, college sports in the area. And then there are some maybe current / former Titans that are customers of Auto Pro Nashville because they trust Hans and his team to give them a concierge service. So if you don't see the car that you want on their website and you say, hey, Hans, I'm looking for XYZ luxury vehicle, he'll say, I'll go look for it. I'll go find what I can get. And they'll do that for you because that's how they go about their business. You can check out their reviews on their website, autopronashville.com.
Hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the show as well as we are talking through the grades now on the big 5 free agents.
Yes.
Also hit that like button. We got to get the likes up. We're only at half on Facebook. I don't know about you, Austin, on your end, what you're seeing, but got to get those likes up. Like the show, please. Helps us a lot.
With these grades, I can do. Should I do a poll of A range, B range, C range, D, F range for my 4 polling options? Is that fair? Okay.
I think so.
YouTube, the poll, the like numbers are solid. It's just there are so many people watching right now. The like numbers are not actually good. So hit that like button if you haven't yet. Shout out King VC on that one. So here is Wan'Dale Robinson's contract. JT, if you could walk us through what you see there on the Spotrac screen, kind of breaking down the overall details.
Yeah, Wan'Dale Robinson's contract here is 4 years, $70 million base. And Z-Dean brings up a good question. He said, is Wan'Dale 78 or 70? He still didn't know. There was some back and forth happening yesterday on that one. It is $70 million base with incentives, whatever they may be over the contract's lifespan to get up to, in total, $78 million. But that does give him $38 million guaranteed. $20 million in 2026 cash, $2 million annual incentives, so 2 per year on that 4-year deal. So that's where you get to the 78 number. So practically, you have an out after 2 years, but it is a 2-year $38 million, which gives him around, as it says there, that gives him about a 17.8 AAV. Spotrac said they had him around 17.6, so the number kind of lines up there, but that is the full number on Wan'Dale Robinson. Once again, 4 years, $70 million base, 17.8 AAV with $38 million guaranteed on that contract. And then I guess we can get to the grades here from you guys in the chat. How do you grade one?
Thank you. I did not realize I was muted. But so just the $2 million of annual incentives, that's the difference of the 70 to 78, right? So I think that's where the confusion comes in. And for Easton, I know that's a big deal.
I think it's dumb and should be illegal. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. There should be one number. I'm pro one number. So that makes me hate the contract more.
Okay.
That is such a small potatoes thing.
Can I go first?
Mad about.
Can I go first with my grade? A-.
Say more.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Why the minus?
Why the minus?
Why the A?
Yeah, just explain to us your process, teacher.
This is a 2-year, $38 million deal for Wan'Dale Robinson, where he's going to be 25 years old, 26 years old, with a chance for him to earn another $40 million over the next 2 years. And so he has to play to a level to be worth the back half of the contract. So this is a great, imagine getting $38 million guaranteed over the next 2 years, whatever the signing bonus is, you get that in the next 3 weeks. But that's a fantastic deal for Wan'Dale Robinson's life. It gives him the resources to go prepare himself to be ready to earn the other $40 million. But that $40 million is not guaranteed. He is an easy cut for the Tennessee Titans after year 2 if the Titans are in a situation where they're paying Cam Ward soon and some other players soon, and they got to go get somebody else to take it to the next level. So my biggest reasoning for really being on board for Wan'Dale Robinson at whatever the price is because of how he can make Cam's life easier. And so in year 2 and year 3 of Cam Ward, Wan'Dale Robinson is very affordable at $19 per year when you're not paying many other guys to help raise Cam's floor and develop Cam to see if Wan'Dale is going to be around for the second half of the deal, or if somebody else who is not 5'8", who maybe has more talent, who maybe has a higher ceiling than Wan'Dale Robinson, no pun intended, but can go in and fill that role as Cam is now taking off, right? So I'm an A- on the Wan'Dale Robinson contract because it's a 2-year, $38 million deal.
Easton, you want to go? Should I go?
No, you should go.
Okay, I'll go. I'm at a B- with this.
Ooh,
and
big difference.
Yeah, listen, it's funny that we're starting.
Wow,
with this
chat
one.
tomatoes at this guy. He doesn't like the contract.
It's not. I think it's a B- with. It's like you submit it, and it's one of those where the teacher gives it back and says B-, but come back and do more credit, and we'll bump this up. To me, right now, I'm at a B-, but can be talked into a better grade on this if Calvin Ridley's gone. And so my thinking on this is Wan'Dale Robinson now is the slot starter. That is your guy. He is playing from the slot, which I think is a good thing. This is one of my favorite things about Wan'Dale Robinson for this team. There were so many times last year that Cam Ward needed a guy who is quick, who is silky in the slot, that can make the
slots aren't real.
Okay.
He's
the guy that can make the quick moves, get open, get the dirty yards. I mean, he had 90 catches for 1,000+ yards. This guy is going to do the dirty work in the middle of the field, something that Cam Ward really didn't have last year from his slot guys. And I think that's a big upgrade, especially in the Brian Daboll offense. There were many times last year where Cam Ward has to scramble or throw the ball away or is making plays where you say, if there was not really anybody open. Wan'Dale Robinson gives you that ability to become open in the middle of the field if the play breaks down, which I really do like. However, that changes things up a lot in the wide receiver room because I think we all still assume that the Titans are going to go and get a wide receiver somewhere in the top 100 of the draft. I think still a fair thing to say to you guys. Do you still believe that?
I sure hope so.
So then you bring in the conversation here, right? Okay. So if we're moving
today, if we're moving receiver maxing.
Yeah. If we're moving Chimdike, who was sort of the big slot last year, to more of the Z role or playing him more there, and then we're moving, I guess, Alec and Calvin Ridley into the more of that X role on the outside, and we're bringing a guy in, that's a lot of guys that you want on the field at one time to no longer be on.
Cut Calvin.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying. So, like, if you don't cut Calvin, that is a lot of people that you're saying, okay, well then Alec isn't necessarily getting his development time, or he's not getting his as much time as you'd like. This new draft wide receiver is not getting as much time. I think you look at the wide receiver room now and say, if you go into the season still relying on Calvin Ridley at this point with Wan'Dale Robinson on the roster, I think it's just not really there. There may be too much put in there that for the short term. And I think you need more on the long term. I think you need to continue to let Alec and Chim and whoever this wide receiver is in the top three top three picks that they have in the top 100 here. You need to get as much playing time, especially as early and often for these players as possible. And I think that with Calvin Ridley still there, it's going to make it a lot harder to do that. And so I like the signing. Don't get me wrong. I just think it makes the wide receiver room for the Titans right now a little bit more muddy in my mind, which is why
it's more crowded, because basically you're not giving enough sunshine to all the plants, is what you're saying.
I think you're giving it to players who might not necessarily be the best fit now on this team, right? Because Calvin Ridley is 30 years old. He is still coming off that injury. Like, at this point, I'm starting to change my mind on, because you have Wan'Dale Robinson, I think I'm starting to change my mind on how much you really do need Calvin Ridley around.
Okay. So, but that has nothing to do with the Wan'Dale contract. So you're saying if Calvin's gone, your Wan'Dale contract goes from a B- up a notch or two.
Yes.
To B+? Like, what's
I would probably give it, like I said, I think it's a B+. From the player alone, I would say that Wan'Dale Robinson fits a need in this offense that you really like. Like I said, he does the dirty work. He's the guy in the slot that is going to get open for Cam, and I think it's a great fit, especially, once again, you go back to what Brian Daboll did with him early on last season, especially right after Malik Neighbors went down. I think he is one of the best players that can work from the slot and, like I said, get you those dirty yards.
All right, Easton, your grade for the Wan'Dale Robinson contract: 4 years, $70 million, 2 years, 38 guaranteed, up to 78 with $2 million incentives each year. How do you grade this?
I gave it a C+ in my article when the understanding was that it was 19 and a half a year. Again, I'm still not even sure which one it is. To me, it's 19 and a half a year.
It's not.
And
he has to earn those. Like, he has to earn that.
Whatever it is. At this point, I don't care. The point is, it's bad process. Whether it's 17, 18, 19, it's a bad process signing. And the Titans have a couple of reasonable reasons that they are banking on it being the exception. And I don't think those reasons are unfair. I don't. The reasons being his age. He's very young for a free agent receiver. His proven ability to handle volume, which that's undeniable from the past 2 seasons. That goes hand in hand, by the way, with availability. That's a top shelf Borgonzi trait in free agency. So I like that. And obviously, we like that the unknown factor of will he fit in our system is all but eliminated because of the success that he's had with Brian Daboll. Now, it's still going to be a whole new cast of characters on a new team with a new quarterback. So there's still it's not like he's going to fit in immediately hand in glove with everybody, but the guy running the offense, that he knows how to use this guy. And so those are reasons to say, hey, this guy is worth paying top dollar in free agency for, even though we know that
top dollar.
This top dollar range. You're paying him as a top 20, or what is he? The top 26 receiver in the league.
Top 26 receiver.
Yes, there are 32 teams. A top 26 receiver is a wide receiver one amount of money. That's math.
No, because that's excluding every rookie contract player that is a wide receiver.
Wide receiver one money. Wide receiver one money.
I think it's wide receiver 2 money.
It is very high-end wide receiver 2 money at this point. Then.
Okay, great. It's high-end wide receiver 2 money. So you did the math on this. You talked about the gap, right? There's the receivers that are making north 20 or higher, and then there's a gap, and then there's Jerry Jeudy at 17 and a half, and then there's below, right?
Cooper Kupp at 15, and then guys drop down to like 13.
And Cooper Kupp's a veteran role player at this point in his career, signing a mercenary contract to go back to his home state kind of deal. Wan'Dale Robinson at 17 and a half is right there in a market where the cap has gone up $20+ million year over year. So there's the inflation there, and you still get Wan'Dale Robinson at 17 and a half on average.
I hear you, but I'm in the same place that I've been since days before this was even made. I told you all I'm indifferent to this because I understand why they did it, but I can't describe this move as anything more than a necessary evil. And none of this is personal against Wan'Dale Robinson, who I think is a good receiver and is going to have a positive impact on this team. And I'm glad he got his money. Again, this is all, I'm happy for him. I'm talking about the team building philosophy. And if it's a necessary evil because of where you are at with your wide receiver development as a team, and you have to go and spend in free agency on a guy, I get the necessity of it, but it's still an evil. And I just don't think that, I think you are deluding yourself to say that historically this is a good way to build your receiver room. Historically, it is clearly not a good way to build your receiver room. And I started a comment a second ago, because we were talking about the money, right, and where he comes in. Mm-hmm. And Andre says these contracts will look good after a year and damn good after year 2. You know who we were just saying this about? The Calvin Ridley contract that was wowing everybody, and we were coping with that at the time too. It's like, well, he's paid, he's the whatever paid receiver now, but this guy's got to get paid, and this guy's got to get paid. Give it a year, he'll be the 16th. It only looks good if the player's good.
Yeah, but if Calvin didn't break his leg, then we wouldn't be complaining about it as much.
Incorrect. I think we are rewriting history on how we all felt about Calvin the first, 6 weeks of this year? We were like, hey, what the heck? It's supposed to be year 2. This guy's still inconsistent as heck. He's a head case. He can't, what's going on here?
He had the big game against Arizona, and then the next game,
he was doing the same thing he did the year prior, which was like roller coaster yo-yo up and down, not the consistent guy you needed.
And he was literally hitting his stride. Anyway, regardless, but
But this is the story on all of these. Again, the most successful story of guys in this range is Stephon Diggs last year, who they gave $63 million worth of a contract to, and they cut him after a year, and he barely eclipsed 1,000 yards. Let me ask you this. If Wan'Dale is a year one, because Wan'Dale got a 4-year contract. So if Wan'Dale plays 2 years, if he plays 2 years, plays the practicality of his contract, and both years he just barely eclipses 1,000 yards, and is what we think he is, a wide receiver 2 slot guy. Are we pleased with that contract?
Yeah.
Right. Agreed. You're not ecstatic over it. You think it was fair value.
Yes, and you have the ability to move on from him.
That is at the bar to clear of okay. What I'm saying is that bar to clear of being an okay contract historically is the best case scenario. And if you're playing the odds, he's not going to do that. But I hope that he does.
If you want to address the wide receiver room in free agency, that's the price. And the Titans did not
And this is my point. Addressing wide receiver in free agency is always a necessary evil unless it's role guys. It always is. Draft a guy every year in the first 4 rounds. Never spend on a starter in free agency is my point.
Okay.
Trade for guys or draft guys. Because starting receivers, outside of if you have 2 studs and he's your wide receiver 3, okay, fine. But signing a wide receiver 1 or 2 in free agency does not work.
But this regime of the Titans is having to make up for previous regime's failures.
Yep,
right?
Unnecessary. They're trying to understand it.
Okay, so we can move on from this.
It hasn't worked for anyone else, but it might work for us.
That's my whole point, guys.
But this isn't. But he's so much cheaper than Calvin was 2 years ago,
and younger.
Yeah, and I think he's.
So he might be the exception, but you're banking on an exception, and a team full of exceptions is a bad football team.
So it's
bad process.
It doesn't have to be a team full of exceptions.
I know, but that's process.
Okay, so you're out on Ruben Bain then. Perfect. Sounds good. I got that on record. So how do you grade Wan'Dale Robinson's Titans free agency contract? A range, B range, C range, or D through F?
I hated that we started with Wan'Dale. It's only going to be up from here. Spoiler.
I was about to say Wan'Dale ended up being my lowest grade in that article. Let's get to somebody I like.
All right, so now somebody.
Again, I hate that I'm not a Wan'Dale hater. I'm a contract hater. I like Wan'Dale a lot. I'm looking forward to putting the money behind us and talking about Wan'Dale the player.
We have people that think Easton ruins the show. We have people that are agreeing with Easton right now.
I got a lot of tomatoes thrown at me.
Yeah, you did, which is fine. I will ask for people to throw more tomatoes at the both of you. So
the funny thing is, I don't think we said one bad thing about Wan'Dale in this whole.
I like Wan'Dale.
Experiment.
I just don't like that money.
The poll. B range, 55% of the vote going to the B range of grades. A range, where I was, 40%. C, where Easton was, 5%. Only 1% gives a D through F. So
there are dozens of us.
Hey, that poll had a really good response there. So make sure you hit that like button, like the show. We've got 4 more contracts to grade, right? And we're going to go through in the most money gross all the way down. So, okay, quick.
Just showing cherry picking my dozens of supporters.
Yeah, all right. Well, while you're doing that, how about you help us pay some bills and talk about the bonus? We got the defense. We're about to grade the 3 defensive guys. So get ready for that. But first, Easton, tell us about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Well, the Bone and Joint Institute is the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. They have over a dozen specialists in their facility in Franklin that will help you through any type of injury. And 11 out of 12 of them agreed with me on this topic. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility on campus to help you with your recovery. Got to know who to trust when you get hurt. We trust our friends at Bone and Joint because they do it all under one roof for your convenience. Clinic, testing, imaging, surgery, and rehab. Schedule an appointment with them today. Get yourself right with our friends at boneandjointtn.org.
Shout out Auto Pro Nashville, the new title sponsor of our morning show. So pumped. I mean, honestly, really excited to work with Hans and his team. We have some cool things that we're going to be doing with Auto Pro Nashville that Easton and JT don't even know about yet. So because this
You're going to give us cars?
No. Never mind. I'm not going to tell you because I'm going to
streamer content in a Lamborghini.
We're doing No, I'm not going to say anything nefarious on here that while we're talking about Auto Pro Nashville.
It's going to be like carpool karaoke, but for sports talk.
No, but we are very excited about what they have because they provide a lot of great services for you in the Nashville area, 2 locations, Brentwood and Murfreesboro. You don't just have to go buy a luxury vehicle. Whatever your vehicle is right now, if you need to customize it, if you want different features or services on your vehicle that you have now, they do that as well. Top of the notch concierge service. The best of the best trust them. Athletes in the area trust them. Coaches in the area trust autopronashville.com. So check them out right there, autopronashville.com. All right, JT, if you want to put in the chat if you haven't already, how do you grade the John Franklin Myers contract? We do not have a Spotrac graphic for this because Mike Giannetti at Spotrac had not gotten that one out there. But this one's fairly straightforward from what I could understand. 3 years, $63 million total. 2 years, 42 guaranteed. So pretty easy math there. 21 AAV for John Franklin Myers, who will turn 30 in September. I guess, what are you guys seeing from the chat as I work on this poll now?
Yeah, I'll go run down the chat here. What everyone is thinking about. Frustrated says A, C, A plus, A plus plus, A, B plus, B plus, A plus plus, A, B plus, A minus, B plus, A, B plus, a little bit high, but two of the top four in the defensive tackle pressures now currently on the roster. A minus, A, B minus, B minus, A, B, A minus, A. Very high grades in the chat here. A, B plus, A. Very high grades on this one to start off.
Who wants to go first here?
I was going to say, I don't.
YouTube poll out, so we got that there.
I probably would give it an A if actually, I'm going to give it an A because I'm going to bet on this contract not being as hard to stomach as it is right now when those numbers come out. Because when you look at it just from the outside, 3 years, $63 million deal with $42 million guaranteed. That's 21 AAV at the moment. So it's a large pill to swallow for your second big time paid defensive tackle on the roster, on the defensive line, considering where the edge room is right now. But I'm willing to pay that for what Robert Saleh likes to do on his defensive line. Like, that is one where I'm going to say that I'm good with spending like that, because first of all, it's hard not to say I'm not good with it when I kind of came to terms with this deal happening last week, because once again, this is one of the least hidden deals of all time. This was transcribed last week a lot of different ways. It's been in the cards for the Titans for a long time. And this is, once again, we don't exactly know what the other options look like. We know that his market was very, very big. It could have been that he came here, like maybe he was going to get 24, 25 somewhere else, but because of the fit, because of the guys that they have around here, John Franklin maybe takes 21 instead of that 24 to go somewhere else. Like, either way, it's a big chunk of money, but I think it's worth it for what it does for Robert Saleh's defense. Like that comment said, last year he played as a top 8 defensive tackle in the league. You're pairing him with Jeffrey Simmons to make an absolute monster of a defensive front. I think it does bring into question, this is a show for a later date, what does this mean for the draft now? Because you spend all that money in the interior now, still haven't address the edge position. What are they going to do there? I think it's a really interesting conversation to have. Does edge at 4 now become back into the picture? Do they basically just go super rotational on the outside with Jermaine Johnson and Femi Oladejo and Jalen Harrell and those guys, and just hope that they continue to develop? It's an interesting conversation, but I'm great with the money. I think he's going to be a monster right next to Jeffrey Simmons. They do like to rotate a lot of the guys in the interior as well, but I think that this is one of those that you say you're going to see John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons, which just from a anecdotal standpoint, and it might just be the number because he wears 98, but like John Franklin Myers and Jeffrey Simmons look a lot alike. Like, it kind of looks like you're looking at two Jeffrey Simmons on the field. That is an awesome thing to have for a Robert Saleh defense. I'm excited for it to see what it looks like. So I'm going to give it an A, because I would give it a B plus if I like, but I'm not going to, because I once again, I think that contract, especially that first year cap hit, is probably going to look a little bit better than what it is right now, which is the 21 AAV.
I think for reference, I think Wan'Dale's first year cap hits in the between 11 and 12. So JFM's maybe a little bit more than that. So that, ranging off of all that. So yeah, you are you're okay.
Okay.
Captain Verbosity this morning.
Easton, your grade for JFM, as JT has said, an A.
A-. Austin? No, I'm kidding. Just speed run it. So a couple of comments. Number one, Zedine says Easton is just jealous of seeing another man at its 5'8" succeeding. Wrong. I'm very proud of him for succeeding at 5'8".
Hey,
I'm keeping us here. Why are we going back to Wan'Dale?
Hang on, you had your 45 minutes. It's my turn.
The shortest player to ever have 1,000 yards receiving in a season.
Is that
Wan'Dale
true,
Robinson.
by the way?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Way to go, research department on that one. Amber has been
You're
screaming
welcome.
all morning about where's Zach, so I'm just going to tell you, Zach doesn't do this anymore. I don't know where you've been, Amber, but Zach doesn't do the show anymore. Cam says, Easton, we have to play the hand we are dealt. These are all comments about me being angry, or like being the bummer about the contract that Wan'Dale got. And M. Bain says, Easton could not be a GM. No one would get signed. This is starting to annoy me that people are like, well, you had to spend money. You had to spend money. That is a lazy way of coping with this. No one is, the detractors are not saying the Titans don't have to spend money. Of course they have to spend money. It's about who and what and how you spend the money. It's reasonable to want to spend it in different ways. And if I was a GM, people would get signed. Guys like John Franklin Myers would get signed to these massive contracts. I think a lot of people were probably surprised by this number. Even I was thinking he'd get 18 or 19. 21, I was like, wow, that's a big fat check. And that makes the Titans on the hook now for 2 of the top 15 highest paid defensive tackles in the league. JFM is now tied for 15th, and right now Simmons is at 8th, but he needs to have his contract changed, so that might increase. In fact, I think that it will. I'm cool with that. That is where I want to invest the big overpay free agent dollars, is in the trenches and in top end, less premium positions like this, because good defensive tackles, good centers, good tight ends, those medium, and then obviously linebacker and running back, the lowest on the totem pole of premium players. Good players of those positions do hit free agency. It's the nature of the way that the league works, and teams hang on to their best, most expensive premium players. They sometimes allow the Tyler Linderbaums of the world to walk, the John Franklin Myers of the world to bounce around to multiple teams. JFM and Simmons are going to be incredible. They're going to be a big fat problem. The only reason I give it a minus is just because you did definitely pay at the very top of the market for him. But I am okay with, again, you have to overspend somewhere. You're paying the suck tax. Make it be on a guy like this, because he and Simmons are so much fun.
A- for me. So all three of us are in the A range, and the YouTube poll is reflecting that as well. Once upon a time, Robert Saleh had a Jets defense that was very good.
True.
With John Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson, and Leonard Williams.
Well, I think this is why people aren't making fun of the
And
Saleh
so
side
you
of this,
just
because it's he's
swap
putting
out
the Jets
Jeff.
back together, which is fine as long as you're only putting Jets defenders into the rotation,
Which is
because
what's
they were the best.
Yeah, so he's recreating that front as much as he can. Jermaine Johnson was tweeting at Quincy Williams last night. Didn't happen. Quincy Williams went to no.
Oh
I
wait,
think
did he get signed?
Yeah, he signed
With the Browns.
Jermaine Johnson now 1 of 2 on his recruiting path.
Browns, yes, yes. Yeah. So he said he was going to stop at 1-for-1, and you shoot or shoot, man. That happens. So I'm an A-. I think this is a great fit. I think this is a tone-setting, culture-setting signing as well. And so now Jeff has a bash bro next to him that he can have. Jeffrey Simmons has been just pleading for somebody to have the same standard that he does. And they've got one.
That.
They've got one. So I'm an A-. We can move through this one pretty quickly. The poll says the A range at 66% of the vote, with B range at 32%, C and D and F combined for 2% of that.
Some fun
100%.
fact numbers for you, just to put a bow on this. 2025 numbers combined for these two players, Simmons and JFM. 18.5 sacks, 23 tackles for loss, 103 pressures, 37 QB hits, and a 12.9% pressure rate, which that'll play. The three highest sack leaders in the defensive line room last year were Jeffrey Simmons at 11, Brandon Dorlus at 8.5, and John Franklin Myers at 7.5. And finally, there were 8 defensive tackles to record a pressure rate of at least 10% and a stop rate of at least 5% in 2025. These are 2 of them.
Yeah, and I did confuse Leonard Williams with Quinnen, so
one of those Williams boys.
It happens.
Yep.
All right, the next one, Alontae Taylor, my guy.
Woo! Speaking of eye-watering money,
if I'm going to take a victory lap, I'm taking it on this one, calling this one months in advance that Alontae Taylor and the Titans should happen in free agency. Now, I did not expect it to be 3 years for $58 million. 2 years, $43 million, the practical contract. So another 2-year deal. Alontae more expensive than Wan'Dale Robinson. And so they paid more. Spotrac says right there, $16 million evaluation. They went up to that a lot, especially if you're talking about 21.5 in the first 2 years. Technically, the most guaranteed money in the first 2 years signed by the team yesterday. Now, as you're grading this, and the chat's all over it already, and so JT, I'll send you the chat as I use up the YouTube poll. One thing to remember is this, I think, is the real bidding war the Titans were in, because
Clearly.
the last couple of weeks, 24 out of 32 teams were like, yeah, Alontae Taylor fits great. And
this is my point. I'm not surprised that they wanted him. I'm surprised they got him because we knew how many teams were in on this. But also, it makes more sense why the number was that big, because clearly, there
was demand.
This was the bid sheet at the silent auction you walk up to, and it's just full of names. It's like, holy cow, there's been a lot of bids on this guy.
Yes. This is the best thing at the silent auction. It's not the Traylon Burks autographed helmet. That's at the
Devondre Sweat autographed helmet.
Yeah. All right. So, JT, I'm setting up the YouTube poll. What do you see in a quick check of the chat so Facebook can get involved here on the Alontae Taylor deal? Technically, the most money given out by the Titans in the first 2 years, the most guaranteed money given out by the Titans yesterday so far this free agency.
Sean says A. Buston says C-. Billy says A. B. B+, B. B-, B-, B. C-, A. A-, A. A lot all over the board here. B. B+, bring the hometown boy home. C+, B-, B+, A, maybe C, B, all over the board here for sure. I'd be interested to see what that poll looks like, because it's either in that B to A- range, or you are not in on this one here, because as Bustin Diamond says, why he didn't like it, he says he's paying $60 million on a nickel. I don't think that's exactly fair to call.
Well, apparently not.
I think he has a lot of inside-outside versatility. I think he's going to play a lot of different positions. I think he can play both.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at his snap counts here. These rough numbers. Last year, he played something like 30% of his snaps on the outside. The year before that, around 50% of his snaps on the outside. The year before that, 10% of his snaps on the outside. So he
kept getting more and more run,
actually it was a kind of yo-yo back and forth, but I'm not saying he can't play outside. I am still, I know that it was literally reported that they see him as an outside corner. So I'm not.
But hey, remember, who did the Saints have prior to this past year?
Lattimore.
Marshawn Lattimore, right?
Yeah.
So
I think get it.
The reason why Alontae Taylor, I think, is valuable is because he is a really solid chess piece that can play wherever you need him. If an injury happens, you put Alontae Taylor to fill a hole, right?
And I hope that's the way that they use him, because he's a darn good nickel, man. And I think the Titans, based on what they've said about this defense, they want a very specific type of guy, and they want the nickel to be a strong point of their defense. And I think Taylor could do that. So if it's not him, I'm curious to see who it is.
And there's still a lot of they don't have enough bodies at corner yet. So
no,
I gave it an A-, by the way.
You gave it a what?
Sorry, I gave it a B-.
B-. I was going to say A-.
Yeah. No, it's top of the market for this guy. I like him. By the way, My grandmother is a legend of Coffee County. She was reporting to me yesterday. First of all, she was like, "Did you know he's from Coffee County?" And I was like, "I did, but thank you for letting me know." And then she did a straw poll around town to former teachers and coaches and family, because his family he at least still has some family there. And she said people were pretty stoked. So I might just go down to Coffee County, do a little guerrilla journalism.
I don't think
talk
you have to
some
go.
folks.
I just think you just FaceTime grandma
Well, no, I might go down there and like talk to some teachers and coaches and stuff.
and get some food, right?
Of course.
Yeah, I'm with you. So
Big
Coffee
fan of
County's
Coffee County.
finest. Shout out Coffee County. JT, your grade?
I'll give it a B.
In 120 seconds or less.
Okay.
Go.
I'll give it a B. Like he said, it's a tough pill to swallow. It's the top of the market, but it does fill a necessary kind of position there for the Robert Saleh defense. I think he's going to, like Easton said, he's playing a lot on the inside, but I think he has that versatility that he's going to be deployed. It's a very big theme of Robert Saleh's defense, by the way, that every player is going to be just all over the field in how they are deployed. But I think you kind of had to, as I believe, like Easton said, Jordan Schultz said that this was either their top cornerback target or their top target in general. Probably a bidding war to get there for Alontae Taylor, but I think they had to do it because, like you said, there still are not enough bodies in that room. And I think it's a guy that they watched this past year as he continues to be ascending in the league. And I think you got to do it. It's another pill you have to swallow. I think it makes the defense better. But once again, that money is a lot. So I'm going to give it a B.
I'm also at a B right there. I've said a lot about Alontae Taylor. I really, really like the idea of him. He's a fun player, explosive, bouncy.
Not afraid to tackle, which is a big thing.
It's huge. Like he is a great fit. And I want to remind people, Friday's show, I mentioned Peter Schrager was on the Pat McAfee show talking about what to expect from a dollar standpoint on free agency this week. And Peter Schrager dropped 2 players that will get signed, and people around the league and the public and the fans will go, whoa, they got that much? Holy crap. That will be an example of the league's inflation. And those 2 names that Peter Schrager dropped were Alontae Taylor and John Franklin Myers, who the Titans gave out $85 million of guaranteed money to in the first 2 years. So that is a reflection of that. The Titans got both those guys. And they also had, at the time of that comment, the most money to spend, or the most available cap space to spend in free agency. So we're on the B range right there. The YouTube poll on the Alontae Taylor contract is a B range, 53%, A range, 39%, C range, 7%. So I like the look. I'm Alontae Taylor is obviously my favorite free agent signing of this class, even though it's the lowest grade that I've given to this point. So rolling along, because the other cornerback got a good bit of money. I know for a fact that in both of our mock off seasons, we signed Wan'Dale, we signed JFM. And Alontae, right? And Morgan Cox in both of them. So we talked about
padding our stats with Morgan Cox is
crazy.
crazy.
We talked about Cor'Dale FLott, but we didn't do it, I don't think.
No, I don't think we did.
Well,
3 years, $45 million, 2 years for 33, the number jumps the top 25 of average paid cornerbacks. And obviously Alontae is way higher than that, but Cor'Dale FLott 6'2", but under 180 pounds. So long, lanky cornerback. Chat grading for Cor'Dale FLott.
Chat.
Where we at on this chat?
Yeah.
Let's see it, chat. I'll put that into the comment section right now. See where they are at with this one.
Nick says, go watch FLott film. He a dog. So
yeah, a lot of people, I'll just say this. A lot of people are like,
what is a Cor'Dale FLott?
Like, y'all need to be put onto some game with Cor'Dale FLott. I mean, he was the best corner for the Giants last year. I mean, he had 32 total tackles. He allowed just over a 50% reception percentage. This is a guy that I think is really productive with how you use him. Like, go watch some of what he did last year. 8 pass breakups, 1 interception.
I saw 11.
Did you?
Yeah, I saw 11 PBUs last year. Maybe
just looking, and this is just a glance at what PFF's numbers have him at. But I mean, he's a very productive player for sure. Go watch me some Cor'Dale FLott tape.
Vintage says Cortland Finnegan. Cor'Dale's got probably 4 inches of height on court. Maybe the same weight.
I was about to say Finnegan was a little bit stockier.
Cortland is an example of a guy who has a switch once he crosses the sideline of the field. One of the nicest guys ever. That is just a complete psychopath maniac when he's on the field. So
suddenly he's punching Andre Johnson in the face.
Well, he was getting punched.
True.
He was receiving that.
There was fighting going on.
Anyway, Cor'Dale FLott. I got a text, Easton. I told you this already. I think I shared this in the text group with you, JT. Somebody who knew Cor'Dale FLott when he was in college texted me saying, saw the Cor'Dale FLott news, ball hawk. That was the end of the text. And then continued and like the guy, humble guy, quieter guy, not your typical boisterous, loud defensive back that you'd expect. More of a reserved guy, but a really good dude and somebody that, hey, 45 mil, 33 guaranteed. It's somebody who deserves this type of story arc based off of their college career at LSU. He needed to go pro early because of his academic situation.
Oh, is that
right? He
right?
didn't really have a choice. To pick up what I'm putting down. Not because he's dumb at all. Not saying that. I'm not saying he was failing because he was trying and not good at it. School wasn't his thing, man. And now he's got $33 million guaranteed, which is a cool story there that, you don't have to be good at school to be good at life. So that's my overall view of Cor'Dale FLott based on some recon gathered yesterday. B range, currently the YouTube poll, 54%, 25% A range, 21% C range. This is the most versatile poll so far. Easton, I'll let you start. Where are you at?
I gave it a B. You paid a more reasonable sum for him than Alontae, but he's also not as good a player to me as Alontae, but also he's a younger player than Alontae. So when they made this move, I thought that he was going to be the most expensive cornerback they signed. I even tweeted, hey, he's your new cornerback 1. And then that was proven wrong pretty quickly. I think that he is a good outside center capable of playing above average ball. He is young. You've paid top-ish dollar for him, but again, that's just the nature of free agency. It's a move that I'm like, I don't have a super strong opinion on it. I give it 1 thumbs up.
I'm going to be plus on it. I think he's going to slot in. Certainly, they have a huge plan for how they're going to maximize him because otherwise he would have stayed in New York. But apparently they made him they rolled out the blueprint and said, this is what we're going to do with you. And that was enough for him to want to pack up and move down here to Tennessee. So I think it's going to be a really nice fit for what the Robert Saleh defense wants. I don't mind the number either. B+ is where I'm at.
I'm at A-.
Cool. Oh, A-. Oh, this guy.
This guy.
Just trying to make good radio. Sorry.
Yeah.
No.
I mean,
I think this is a high level quality outside corner, right? Like he does a good job of getting his hands on the football. He's long. He's not the best tackler, but he's going to be the furthest away from the guys that tackle more. So, I like the idea of Cor'Dale FLott quite a bit. I think the contract is super reasonable. It's so reasonable for all this. So I'm an A- for Cor'Dale FLott, which, you guys are both in the B range, right? B+ for JT and flat B for Easton, if I'm correct.
Indeed.
That's for 54% of that, 20% C range, 26% A. So a lot of flip-flopping across, it's more spread out overall on that one. We got one more of these grades, and we have another question about the overall free agency class to see if the Titans still have a box they need to check or not. And so now we get to the tight end 2, Daniel Bellinger, whose contract 3 years, $24 million base, 14 guaranteed, a practical 2-year, just shy of $16 million in the first 2 years, $3.4 million in the final year of his contract with the Giants, but goes and reunites with Brian Dable, obviously is the theme there. So grading Daniel Bellinger's contract, this one can probably be a shorter conversation, but this is the official end of Chig Okonkwo's time in Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Moment of
Official.
silence.
Hey, shout out Chig. Great dude.
Very fun.
Yes.
Yes, and a great attitude when he didn't have to have a great attitude.
Some of the most
There will
electric
be-
individual
there will
plays of
be-
the past 4 years, easily.
I'll tell you what, Easton, there will be a new ping pong champion in that locker room because the old one is exiting.
Well, Mason
Somewhere
Kinsey
is licking his
disagrees.
chops.
He says the ping pong champion isn't going anywhere.
Well,
is what
now it's
Mason says.
undisputed.
Yeah, now it's undisputed. Listen, I may be way higher on this one than you guys, and that's fine
You are.
because Daniel Bellinger, I think I pounded the table for him in every single one of our mock off seasons.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one place I'll give it a solid A because I don't think the money's too crazy. This is, I think, this needs to work out to where Gunnar Helm ascends to be your tight end one, right? I think that's the long play here. But for right now, Daniel Bellinger is that perfect in-between guy that the Titans so desperately needed last year. I think you look at what he can do with his skill set. He's a guy that can play the more Y inline guy. He can be your glorified blocker when you need him to, but also he's a junkyard dog when he gets out there and he gets the ball in his hand. He is a guy that is not afraid to get hit, to get those extra dirty yards, to make a play. I like the melding of the Y versus your more movement tight end. I think he's a perfect fit for what Brian Dable did with his tight ends last year in New York when that was working really well for him after Malik Neighbors went down at the beginning with Jackson Dart. You saw a lot of success there with Theo Johnson and Daniel Bellinger. You bring Daniel Bellinger here and you're hoping that Gunnar Helm kind of ascends to be that Theo Johnson role. I think it's a perfect fit for what this Titans team needs. And I'm going to give it an A.
So I'm giving it a B-, but I'm that's pending some of the rest of the tight end market getting contracts. I could see a world where this drops to like a C and is my least favorite signing, which is not reflective of Daniel, to be honest with you, because Daniel is a guy that I was supportive of us signing in our mock off seasons. Like I understood. Here's what I like about it. I like that this. I saw somebody saying ago, he's not replacing Chig. He is, even though they do very different things, and that's because this was a roles thing, right? Proper roles with Gunnar Helm as your tight end one, your 3-down guy that's going to be your number one receiving target as a tight end and a guy that you lean on as an inline blocker. That guy needed to be placed on a pedestal, and the 2 and the 3 in that tight end room needed to be supplemental, supporting guys to what Gunnar is doing, which in the modern NFL needs to be guys that are primarily blockers, and Chig wasn't going to be able to do that. It was going to be weird for a receiving only guy to be your 2, and that was, I don't know what Chig's going to get. When we saw Isaiah Likely get 13 APY,
I was going to ask you, Easton.
So like if Chig goes out and gets 10 or 11, then I feel better about Bellinger for 8. And I had somebody in the league yesterday tell me like before any of this started, they said every tight end's going to get more money than you think, and they were right. So maybe it's just a supply and demand thing that in the big 2026 teams are desperate for players like Bellinger who can block. I question how hard his archetype of player is to actually find. But somebody in the comments a second ago said, Dable didn't even use him. Bellinger played almost 900 snaps last year. They just didn't throw him the ball. That's not his job. So they did use him a lot.
If Chig, who would you rather have at 3 years, $24 million? Chig or Bellinger?
For this team, I would lean Bellinger, but
Who would you rather
love either of those players at that price.
You know, who also got 3 years
million for Chig is a good deal.
When he's going to be the second receiving tight end on the team? No, I don't. If he was your number one receiving target in the tight end room,
he was the number one yards gainer on the whole team.
Correct, but that's not. This team needs to lean into Gunner's development, because if Gunner becomes
I don't
a bona fide
disagree.
receiver, then he's way more valuable a player than Chig ever.
Here's where I'm at, because I feel like JT has a similar feeling on the Wan'Dale Robinson, Calvin Ridley conversation of like those guys could stunt the growth of your future draft pick and Chim and Alec at receiver in the way you felt Chig would stunt the growth of Helm. They don't have to affect each other. Like they can, you guys want reps and you guys want box score stats. I understand you guys are not just box score scouting. I'm not trying to throw that on you, but I get where you're coming from, but like they can still develop just as well with that competition of I've got to go get mine. If I'm going to get the football, I've got to earn it, not just because nobody else is out here to get the football. And so I think Chig at 3 years, 24 is way more desirable than Bellinger at 3 years, 24.
I push back on that because of where both I think this Titans offense is going and where the league is going with how much 12 and 13 personnel that this team this is me projecting, but just based on what Brian Daboll did and where the league is going, they're going to play a hell of a lot more 12 and 13 personnel next season. Chig essentially can't do that. And that's where I have a problem and why I essentially didn't think he was going to be back in the first place, just because it just doesn't fit. I also want to say, like, Daniel, I don't think this contract is as crazy as we think. Like, Charlie Kolar got the same exact contract from the Los Angeles Chargers. Like, this is something where you go get your guy.
I think Kolar's a better blocker.
Sure, but I mean, he's not as versatile as a guy like
I'm at a flat C on the Daniel Bellinger contract. I think the money is like
so you're lower than I am. Wow.
Yeah, I don't dislike Daniel Bellinger. We were signing Daniel Bellinger on our mock off seasons and bringing Chig back, you know?
Right. But we were giving Bellinger 5 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that.
Again, my greatest, I want to see the rest of the tight end market materialize. I want to see what everybody ends up getting. Because again, it may just be the tight end market because of the glowing pub that 12 and 13 personnel got in the past year. But we're also being gaslit in the chat. Everybody's like, Easton thinks everyone isn't worth the money. I just said that Cor'Dale FLott was worth the money and that JFM was worth the money. And those were big fat contracts. Just because I disagree that some of these guys shouldn't have been paid what they were paid does not mean I wouldn't pay anybody. You're not listening, Andre.
No. All right. So I'm going to wrap up that YouTube poll there. B, 42%, C, 32% for Bellinger, 18% A, D through F, 7. So Daniel Bellinger's contract gets the lowest aggregate grade from the poll.
That makes sense.
And probably from us too, right?
I'm gonna die on this hill for my boy.
Were you an A minus?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Like A minus A.
I think
like
so.
I
Your
really
grade.
like
Yeah, I think so. What'd you say?
I don't even remember at this point.
I was like an A minus, B, C, D, E.
I'm so Daniel Bellinger pilled.
That day, I get you. Daniel Caribbean wants us to talk about Josh Williams. Josh Williams, 2 years, $10 million contract signed last night. Thumbs up from JT. I think he's a pass-fail grade. I think Mitch Trubisky's a pass-fail grade. I think
I give Mitch an A. I think
fair.
He's
I think it's really
the perfect tier of backup.
High quality back. Fair enough. Josh Williams dressed in like all the games last year, but did not play on defense like at all. He was the Chiefs' #1 gunner on special teams.
I think he played 8 snaps of defense.
Not that low, because he had like it wasn't. I don't think it was that low.
I'll look.
Single-digit defensive snaps. That's nuts. But it was very low. It was definitely not triple digits.
Maybe I'm exaggerating. We'll see.
As you pull that up. But Josh Williams, 6'2", long guy. No, 6'3", maybe. So
he's an upgrade from the Darrell Baker Jr. role.
I do not expect. If Josh Williams is...
He played 16 snaps. I mean, I was not far off. He played 16
far,
snaps of
I also
offense.
said it wasn't single digits.
Now he played 272 total snaps.
You missed 50. You missed by 50%. That's a big miss.
There's a lot left on the bone there. Like there's a lot of meat on the bone for a guy like Josh Williams. I think he has a lot of potential.
I was texting with our guy, Charles Goldman, who covers the Chiefs for us at A to Z. And I was like, what's up with this? Like, why do you dress for all these games, but don't play? And he mentioned that the Chiefs had a bunch of corners that they no longer have now. And he was just buried on the depth chart. Josh Williams can cover he can be in really good positions, but he has not quite developed the ball skills to make a play on the football in that moment. And so what's the point? It was.
Who is playing cornerback in Kansas City?
I don't know.
I'm asking.
Mansour Delane and Colton Hood.
Clearly. And someone else. Yeah.
Number 9, number 29 overall. Those two guys.
I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
Yeah. So Josh Williams, good, solid player, but I do not think Titans fans should expect him to be a starting outside corner with Alontae in the slot and FLott on the other outside. That's not what it should be. If that is, then they didn't do enough.
Agreed. Trade Snead back. I support that.
Yeah. All right. We got one more question here, and then we've got a few super chats. So buckle up. JT is keeping us here until 11.
JT, come on, man. We tried to stop. We told you about this, dude.
Easton, can you tell everybody about our great deal with Window Nation this month?
I'd be happy to. Window Nation, for those of you here in hour 2, you get information on this deal that Window Nation is running a 50% off of all window styles in the month of March. So you need to call them at 866-90-NATION or go to windownation.com and you can schedule a fast and free estimate with the pros at Window Nation. They will come to your home. They will explain to you what their process looks like, what the options are, what your pricing is, what the payment plan looks like. It's all very easy. It's all very friendly service from our friends at Window Nation, and it's no pressure. Again, it's a free and quick estimate that they will come out and give you, and then you'll be at least informed on how you can, now or later, improve the value of your home. So do it with our friends at Window Nation, and do it this month for 50% off of all window styles.
All right, shout out to AutoPro Nashville, our new, my turn. AutoPro Nashville, autopronashville.com is the website, new title sponsor of the show. Pumped about Hans and his team. If you're looking for a luxury high-end vehicle that's gently used, if you have something in mind where you have that dream car that you've always wanted and they don't have it at either the Brentwood or Murfreesboro location, Hans and his team will go find it for you. They do that for anybody, honestly, in the area. Concierge service at its best and other services for your current vehicle to customize whatever that style is that you're looking for with your ride. AutoProNashville.com.
Hans, I would like you to find me an Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
I saw
Good
one
luck.
like within this last 12 months, 5 minutes from my house.
Really?
Yes.
I wonder if it was Hans delivering it for me.
I don't think so.
Because I ordered one.
So Easton,
you find one for me?
Maybe. Here's this day one haul from yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Big money receiver, big money D-line, cornerback money, tight end, backup quarterback, depth corner. Then you get to the bottom 2, center and guard.
Right.
Austin Schlottman and Cor'Dale Volson.
Mm-hmm. Wan'Dale, Cor'Dale.
And I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Darnell Love, 4th overall.
Chad,
Jeremiah Darnell Love.
Jeremiah's middle name is Darnell.
That's right. That's not the question I'm getting to. So that's just
another
thing. Now Easton's trying to keep us here until 11:30. So here's the question I want to ask you guys. Do we think the Titans think they have their starting center under contract? So I'll say it again. Do we think the Titans think they have their starting center? Whether that's Austin Schlottman, who is the Giants version of Corey Levin, started 4 games last year, did not allow a sack, played fairly well. Giants fans liked him more than their guy that got hurt. And then there's Jackson Slater. Now, Jeffrey's saying Elton Jenkins. That Terry McCormick reported the Titans are not pursuing Elton Jenkins.
Big Terry was all over that one.
Jeffrey Simmons, Mississippi State teammate. So, do we think the Titans think they have their center on the roster currently, which would be either Schlottman or Jackson Slater?
Right.
The floor is yours.
I think the answer is once they also get Levin under contract, then the answer is yes, we think we have our guy on the roster. And that's not to say that I think Levin is the guy, but I think that a 3-man race with Levin being the at a minimum bridge option, right? Like you have him in the room, you have Slater in the room, you have Schlottman in the room. You're going to let them duke it out, but you know that if no one emerges as the clear bona fide starter. Well, as we continue to develop and figure out who the guy is, we know that this guy can handle it. And I said this on Twitter yesterday. I think I said it at the very end of one of our videos yesterday, Austin. I am buying more Jackson Slater stock than I already have. He has been cross-training since he got into the league. I've talked to him. He's been snapping a football every day of the offseason this year. He's all over it with his training and his development in his first real NFL offseason. And so there is familiarity there in terms of training for the center position. And I just get the sense that he is at the very least going to get a very careful look for the role. If not, I mean, they may internally quietly have him penciled in as the guy that they have to try to usher into that role, not force it, but allow for a competition where, hey, Jackson, there's the mantle, go take it.
Okay. JT, do we think the Titans think they have their center?
I think so, mostly because it's going to be a competition. It's going to be, I kind of agree with Easton as well that you're kind of lumping Corey Levin in there because I think he does come back at some point. They do bring him back, but it's going to be that 3-horse race. And I think you look at what they have right there and say, yeah, I mean, you're hoping that who is it? Schlottman probably wins it because he has the rapport with the offensive line coach already. That's why you bring him in. He can learn the system pretty well. He learns the techniques that he needs to learn pretty well early on. And so that's kind of the safety blanket there. You have Corey Levin, who also has worked with Cam. That's a safety blanket. But to Easton's point, with how much he's been training there, I think it could be a really sneaky dark horse play for them to get that out of, what was he, a 6th round pick last year, which would pay dividends for what they need. And it's kind of unfortunate because I think this is maybe not necessarily where they wanted to go. I think the center market just
bingo. I'm surprised I'm being let off the hook for this, to be honest with you, because I said that the plan was veteran center, and then Paul Karski explicitly reported it after the combine that the plan was veteran center. And it's not that we were wrong about that, is my understanding. Maybe it's Cope, and you can be like, Easton, you big dumb idiot, you were wrong.
I mean, Austin Schlottman is a veteran center. You know, veteran center doesn't mean.
I don't think he was the plan all along either, though.
I don't either. But
I think the plan shifted when they got priced out of the market of a lot. I mean, Linderbaum, obviously. McGovern returns, and so I think that they had numbers that they wanted to spend on these guys, and they got priced out of each of those markets, and they stuck to their numbers. I am concerned about this, though.
I think it's fair to be concerned about it.
That's definitely a different question from the one. Like, I also am. I also think that Schlottman is the poor man's Cade Mays too, a little bit. Like, I think that's because the unfortunate getting priced out of there. They said we're pivoting to a guy who has the experience, but also has played under him. It's going to be a tricky situation because you cut Lloyd Cushenberry. Now you kind of have to deal with the consequences of that.
Yeah, it's fine. If you cut Lloyd Cushenberry, okay, what's the plan? And can you execute the plan? And so far, I don't think they're executing what their plan was. This is maybe a backup plan. So I agree with you guys. I think Austin Schlottman is the starting week 1 center.
We will see.
And so we'll go from there and see if they have a draft pick to come in and replace him, kind of the Van Jefferson situation, right? Of you draft a guy to start in September for having a younger player replace him in October and beyond. That could be Jackson Slater. That could be somebody in the day 2, day 3 of the draft.
Logan Jones,
come on down. Connor Lew, after ACL's all cool, welcome, start snapping to Cam. And then the other thing, and this is not the topic either, and we can pencil this, but all the great things that I think the Titans did yesterday, the offensive line is sitting there staring you as the biggest concern on this team. And you don't have to answer that, but there are significant concerns on the offensive line. Now, it is not even 24 hours of the legal negotiating window, so it's still so early. So that's something to monitor. As somebody asked in the chat, the Jake said thoughts on the plans for today. Offensive line, in my opinion, but we'll see how big they go because they've already handed out a ton of money. And we don't know exactly how much cap space they have. Roughly, I would say they probably used half of their $95 million or whatever yesterday.
Right.
Correct.
Fairly, roughly. All right, super chats before we get up out of here for more content throughout the day. Big says, don't draft, don't pay running backs. Now the Chiefs are paying, don't spend free agency. The Pats and Seattle both were top 5 in spending last year and reached the Super Bowl. Don't pay free agent wide receivers. Enough for the media narratives that never last.
Okay.
I mean,
are they media narratives or are they NFL history?
I think, but history changes.
Yes.
Right? And I think the league changes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for the edit there. Are we sure your son is not typing?
That's good.
Because that is really funny. But I think I could get through that one enough. I think sometimes it's okay to deviate from the plan when the plan doesn't make sense. And I saw something that I sent you guys during the show of a big time NFL draft analyst saying it's pretty clear in free agency of where the wind is blowing in the Darnell Love sweepstakes in the draft.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Based off of what happened yesterday at the running back position.
Of course you do.
Elks,
because
Big
you
Ten
were
Jeff.
already a Darnell Love supporter.
Shade on Devin Lloyd made me carry his fridge and washer and dryer to his second and third floors not even a year ago and leaving Jacksonville for nothing.
For nothing? He got paid a handsome sum. Okay. What do you mean nothing?
Time out. Made you carry? No,
yeah.
Jeff. You were so giddy to offer to help a NFL linebacker carry things that he was capable of doing himself.
I didn't know this story. Did we know
I
this story?
don't know it either, but I'm just calling BS on Jeff being
Did you do it for friend, like as a friendly neighbor?
He made
fun,
me.
Or were
I
you
feel like this is like Darnell Lloyd he was paid to do this. Like that's what that sounds like.
I feel like Jeff jumped at opportunity to. It's like when you. It's like when somebody. You guys probably had this buddy who brags about. Yeah, I bought this famous person a beer at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
Like they don't need you to buy them a beer. They have,
but when you buy them a beer, then you become their best friend.
Not according to
celebrity.
Not according to this.
Well, Jeff's just yapping, which means it's a day that ends in Y.
All right, TLG last super chat. We can't mistake having more than 2 good skill players joining young weapons as something that will stunt their growth. If you're young and want more targets, learn to make the ones you get count. I think it's just a good
sound advice
comment. Yes. Good comment. If you have not liked the show, please do it. Hit that like button.
Thanks,
we will have more reels on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else. More articles on A2Zsports.com/Titans. More tweets, more graphics, more info, more YouTube videos. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit the bell because we are putting out things only on our YouTube channel this week, not anywhere else. So you got to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
The Titans are running it back today. 10 more players. Lock in.
All right. That is it for us. Appreciate all of your time today. We'll try to keep it under an hour and a half tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see.
Like the show. Talk to you later.